So I finally got a chance to play the PvP in Destiny 2 beta. I played both the Titan, the Hunter, and the Warlock. Unfortunately, I did not get a chance to play with the Voidwalker for the Warlock, and I didn't really play too much with the pole dancer Hunter. I forget the actual name. Arc Strider, I think, something like that. But I did get to play with Sentinel, as well as the Fist of Havoc Titan. And I have to say there are certain subclasses and certain characters that really shine out a lot more in PvP. But let's get this out of the way first, because we want to talk about how the beta has been an older build. They updated back in the TWAB for Destiny and Bungie. They mentioned that this was a build from a month back, and the game has been changed since then, including things like the super balance, the grenades and abilities, the melee, and so those things are already addressed. So I'm not going to touch up on what I think needs to be done on that part, because as with everyone else, I kind of agree. They were a little bit slower to develop, but with that being said, it was a little bit more interesting. It brought me back to my Halo roots in terms of being able to play on gunplay alone and being able to engage when I know I have the advantage, and more focusing on being able to run if I have to. So it was a different atmosphere for that, and I wish I had the fusion rifles. I'm just saying. Those ones are crazy OP. What I want to talk about is the different characters and where I feel like they fit in the PvP section. So, starting off with the Titan, I played both the Sentinel and the Fist of Havoc, and I really think that the Fist of Havoc Titan is going to be the best way to go about it. You have the ability with Sentinel to throw your shield. You kind of have that same sort of ability with the Fist of Havoc, but it's not quite the same. With the Fist of Havoc, you get that sort of initial shock, and then you have the additional ability to roam around, and you kind of have this faster speed to yourself. And that benefit to you being able to run around with that super, it makes it a whole lot more potent to use. I had about a couple of matches where that was very useful, and in fact, I almost ran through the end of this team if only we weren't losing already. And it was a very powerful attack. Now with Sentinel, I didn't get that feel, unfortunately just because the supers weren't coming out as fast, but I just didn't have the same sort of oomph that the Fist of Havoc can dominate with. So if you're going to play with Titans, I'd suggest going with the Fist of Havoc, just for right now. There are some things with the Sentinel that are really fun to play with, and maybe I just need to play with it more, but of course, you know, in terms of the time that we had to play with it, I think Fist of Havoc was a lot more worth my time. When it comes to the Hunters, I believe Hunters in general were the best for PvP content, and only because their ability really benefits them so much, especially when you have it set up so that you have the evade plus the automatic reload. This gave you pretty much an additional magazine for you to play with while you're still battling someone and you're using the evade ability. It was fantastic for that sort of play, and I really enjoyed it a lot. Now, the unfortunate thing with that is that it is kind of greedy. You only have abilities that will help you, and while that may be so, doing things like the Golden Gun was a very, very powerful DPS sort of move, at least in terms of a team play aspect. The Arc Strider was also pretty fun too, but it wasn't as potent as I would like for it to be, as opposed to things like the Gunslinger. But in general, the gameplay style that the Hunter can afford, I feel as though has a better playstyle, and definitely with the hand cannon, the exotic hand cannon that you get from the game for the Hunter, from the campaign, the first mission, it just makes things a whole lot easier to play with, and you can really feel it's sort of like Destiny 2's Thorn. It's building up to that because it has that same sort of punch. You kind of have that same energy of it, and you hit the feel. It's very similar, and I was a big fan of Thorn, strictly on the crosshairs and focus, not really so much of the burn, but it really has that sort of same energy, and I really like that a lot. And it was actually, I would say, probably my favorite gun out of all the weapons there. Now as for the Warlocks were, I think, a little bit better than the Titans, but not by a whole lot. And the reason being is that they had the fusion rifles to start off with. I didn't play too much, so I wasn't able to unlock a lot more heavy guns. But with that being said, the pulse rifle that they had was pretty good. It was pretty much all the other pulse rifles that everyone else had, but it was fun to play with that one. The ability to be able to heal your teammates a little bit was pretty nice. And then being able to rain, you know, attacks down with your super was just way better. The Dawnblade is sort of like the Hammer of Soul in Destiny 1. I had the same energy, and I kind of wanted to just go out there and just throw as many down as possible. Now, with that being said, it's kind of unfortunate too that they also get packaged with this a mini Twilight Garrison move, which honestly to me feels kind of lame because there was absolutely no evade moves for the Titan. So it felt more like a Warlock was a Titan than a Titan was a Titan. That was a really unfortunate thing, but it is what it is. And like I said, I didn't get to play the Voidwalker, but I did see how the super goes, and it's a very interesting one that looks like there. So, I mean, I think Voidwalkers were always a pretty good class to begin with, even from Destiny 1. So, being able to transfer that over into Destiny 2, and now it's like a slower ball that seems to track a lot better, it could be a very devastating play for points and trying to take them. That's pretty much my take on it, guys. What does that basically mean for me? I may start playing more Hunters. I may start playing more Warlocks. The Titan, they're fun, and they're always going to be my favorite class to play with in at least PvE, but when it comes to player versus player content, Hunters and Warlocks, it's really hard to say no to. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think I am a betrayer of my Titan people? Or do you think that it's good that I'm converting just a little bit more to the Warlocks and the Hunters? Let me know in the comments down below and let's talk about it. Other than that, guys, I very much appreciate you guys watching, and other than that, I'll see you later.